Part 3. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 21. Chapter 21 Your Real Beast, Seeking a Red Ticket. A surging sound screamed. This surging sound was exclaimed by Nangang Yuking, and as the surging sound rang, there was a surging sound dull, which seemed like a surging sound. Wei Suo almost subconsciously took out luminescent pearl in his arms. When the soft brilliance of luminescent pearl spread out and the scene in the cave was revisited, Wei Suo not only took a breath of air. Lin Deyi, who was not far from his side, is now standing in a place not far from the ice mist fruit, with a pair of lust-like eyes looking at Nangang Yuking and Lin Yuzheng and other people, and he had been away from a distance. Nangang Snow White but Sunny is back to his side, the face of a pale, mouth chin out a trace of blood, look like a hit. Her body red tight leather armor on unexpectedly also appeared several rips, one of them also close to her chest. From Wei Suo position look past, just can see Nangang Yuking close to the white Chuyi under the half snow white butt, this looming for normal men's stimulation more great treasure. In this lust condition, Wei Suo's in some places cannot help to react. Lin Deyi, what's the matter? Thick and precious treasure. Yes, Yao Zhang stared at Lin Deyi and Nangang Yuking, and couldn't understand what it was. What can be done? Isn't this a clear thing? Black is black. Wei Suo once again focused on true Yuan in his own spiritual jade, and educated Yes Yao Zhang. Lin Deyi, do you dare to do this? Even if you are sure to deal with so many people, aren't you afraid that our iron policy will endlessly chase you? At this time, Nangang Yuking's cold surging sound also rang. The momentum is very good, but is this not nonsense? People are afraid to do this. Wei Suo sighed as he sneaked at the snow white but white circle in the soft armor of Nangang Yuking. Wei Suo has a rare encounter with the monsters once or twice a year, but I did not expect that I would meet this person immediately when I agreed to join hands. Lin Deyi, do you dare to do this? Yes, Yao Zheng finally reacted at this time, a surging sound of anger. My thing is just a copy of spirit level great treasure, the power is not comparable to your great treasure fragment, but as long as you focus on true Yuan, you can still use it. Lin Deyi, regardless of Yes Yao Zheng, looked at Nangang Yuking leisurely. Now, with the degree of damage to your meridians, even if you can still do so, you can only at least 2 levels of divine C stage cultivator. As for your iron policy, although it is powerful, as long as I kill you all, even if they find out that they want to find me again, I have long known where to go. Heavenly Profound Continent is such a great treasure with an organization like Iron Policy, I am afraid it is impossible to find me. Lin Deyi, we believe in you so much, you actually want to deal with us for these things. Seeing Lin Deyi's leisurely self-satisfaction, seeing them as dead people, Yes Yao Zheng couldn't stand it anymore. A surging sound roared, and a golden glow appeared on his body, and a blood-red airflow appeared on his hands and arms. Waving a heavy sword rushed toward Lin Deyi. Yegyue is also a bite, a group of water drops divided into 3, sputtering 3 water arrows, spurting toward Lin Deyi. White water cover. Lin Deyi squeezed out a shackle without a hurry, and a mist of water filled his side, forming a bubble-like water hood. Yegyue's 3 water arrows hit the water hood and splashed 3 splashes of water, but they couldn't get in. Immediately, Lin Deyi pulled out a slap in the face, boom surging sound, a dazzling yellow thunder from him on Yes Yao Zheng. This thunder hit the body of Yes Yao Zheng, bursting into a dozen of thumb-thick electric whip, squeaking, and the surging sound was amazing. Was rushed by this thunder, not only Yes Yao Zheng, a surging sound, but also a 5-step step. The whole person is also slightly twitching, and he is somewhat paralyzed by electricity. Wei Suo's eyes suddenly licked great treasure. Lin Deyi's thunder attribute technique is not only powerful, but also has a paralytic opponent that limits the effectiveness of the action. The most important thing is that his thunder, which is also entangled by more than a dozen lightning bolts, is completely out of the fireball fired by Fireball Talisman. Thunderball, which can make such a powerful force, can only show that Lin Deyi's cultivation base is Divine Sea Realm 5th layer. Not only Wei Suo, but Yegyue around him also saw it, and his face suddenly became white but white. Nangang Yuking, you can't be my opponent. Seeing the look of Yegyue and Nangang Yuking and others, Lin Deyi is more proud. The former guy was a very handsome and very amiable look, but now his eyes are on the gaps of Nangang Yuking's tight soft armor. Look, but everyone can see his color tits. Look, but if you are willing to be controlled by me, obediently listen to me, I can spare you a life. After all, there are not many of the entire Spirit Peak City there is a woman of your kind. Lin Deyi, you are simply delusional. As soon as I heard Lin Deyi, Nangang Yuking suddenly trembled with anger. Really, that being the case, then I will only say you down. Lin Deyi he smiled and glanced at Nangang Yuking's straight and slender legs. His eyes stayed in the unscrupulous part of the lower part of Nangang Yuking's lower abdomen. I don't think you have tasted the intercourse of men and women. Maybe. After you have tried it, you will never be able to leave without me. Nangang Yuking was in a cold heart and was seen by Lin Deyi in evil. She had a feeling of being stunned and covered. At this moment, she suddenly heard a smile from Wei Suo he on the side. Lin brother, I can't think of you. Wei Suo said the sentence, not to mention that Nangang Yuking and others stayed. Even Lin Deyi could not help but swear, I don't know what Wei Suo means. Her body is so hot, wearing such a leather armor, I can't stand it anymore. Wei Suo rubbing his hand, swallowing his mouth, some embarrassed look. In fact, I have been waiting to go out and find a chance to hold her, enjoy it. I didn't expect Lin Xiang to be so powerful. I started here, but you can do it with Lin Xiang. Your cultivation base is Divine Sea Realm's 5th layer, which is not comparable to the younger cultivation base. Wei Suo's words are exported. The face of Nangang Yuking and others has become more and more ugly, and Lin Deyi is also somewhat surprised. Looking at Wei Suo, what do you mean? The mortal women in Liuxia Lane are all mediocre, which is comparable to the female cultivator. Originally, I was very interested in her, but this Yegyue also grew well. Wei Suo's color tits looked at Yegyue. It's better for us to join them and Nangang Yuking will give you an intercourse. I will be Yegyue after all. Yegyue, I am also a little favorite. I don't think this guy actually moved this mind early. Lin Deyi quickly calculated in his heart, and if this guy and his own team, it would be foolproof. So Xi and Deyi smiled and smiled. I don't think Brother Wei actually likes me, but I don't feel relieved. If you say that you want this little girl, then I will report it to Iron Policy. Then I am a little bit dangerous. Since you have also taken a look at this Nangang Yuking, then I have a good idea. After I have used Nangang Yuking first, you will use it in front of me, so I will be relieved. Haha. If you don't mind Lin brother, then I can't ask for a. Wei Suo is extremely excited. If Lin brother doesn't mind, we can even have 4 people together. I changed the intercourse again. I played with a brother in Liuxia Lane and learned a lot of tricks. Lin Deyi heard it, and suddenly it was very itchy. Looking at Nangang Yuking and Yegyue, I was already wondering how to enjoy these 2 beautiful women. But at this moment, no one thought of it. A surging sound, a blazing fireball suddenly rushed out of Wei Suo's hands and rushed toward Lin Deyi. Ah! Lin Deyi unprepared and released a white water hood, but the white water hood couldn't bear the powerful energy of the fireball. The fire tongue that broke open was still on Lin Deyi's body. The robes on Lin Deyi suddenly caught fire. It is said that even the hair has been burnt, and it is ugly to be the same hair as Wei Suo. Fireball talisman. Wei Suo, you dare to lie to me. Lin Deyi, who was so busy and smashed something, and screamed at the flames of his body, screamed. Nangang Yuking and Yegyue, 2 people just heard Wei Suo and Lin Deyi say that they want 4 people together. Intercourse changed something. They can't help but have to fight and die with Wei Suo, but I didn't expect to. The individual is still together, and now Wei Suo gave Lin Deyi a fireball talisman. What made Nangang Yuking and Yegyue almost fainted, Wei Suo actually put his hands on his hips and looked at Lin Deyi, who was burnt black, and said with great vigilance, I just told you to play. As a result, you actually believe in this kind of thing, really want to do it, animals. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 22. Chapter 22 is awesome to dare to challenge. I am a beast? It's just that you've just said that you've been coveting Nangang Yuking for a long time, and that you can even have 4 people intercourse, and what's the result, saying that I am a beast? Lin Deyi Zhang Great Treasure can't speak for a while, he simply can't understand. Wei Suo, this is just the Divine Sea Realm 3rd layer low grade cultivator, where to do so. What are you doing? Come to me soon. At this time, Wei Suo quickly shouted a surging sound toward Nangang Yuking and others. Although I feel that Wei Suo seems to have no strength to compete with Lin Deyi, Nangang Yuking and Yegyue and Lin Qiuei, who has just been played by Lin Deyi with Thunder attribute, now have some activities that are not working well. Unconsciously listening to Wei Suo's words gathered around him. Just what he said is that the copying power of Shapeshift Great Art Great Treasure is definitely very harmful. What protection against the Shapeshift Great Art is on you, so come out. Wei Suo said this quickly. After hearing the words of Wei Suo's, Yegyue, who was very handsome, just woke up like a dream, and quickly took out a black talisman. Wei Suo took over the black talisman without saying anything. After a true Yuan sneaked in, the 3-footed black tortoise shell shield was suspended in front of them. Xian Armor Talisman. Wei Suo is a bit of a surprise, and Yegyue's is actually a rank 2 defense shapeshift great art. The black shield of this rank 2 Xian Armor Talisman, defensive power and maintenance time, is estimated to exceed the Earth Shield of the Earth Shield Treasure Talisman on Wei Suo's hand 2 to 3 times. But on the one side, the South Palace Snow White Butt and Yes Yao Zheng shook their heads, and there seemed to be no defensive shapeshift great art. Wei Suo, I want to kill you. At this time, Lin Deyi also completely returned to God. First, he inspired a dark cyan jade talisman who had just come out. Immediately, a dark cyan wind wall appeared in front of Lin Deyi. Bah! Wei Suo was very contemptuous and grinned. Now even the pigs can see that Lin Deyi is going to get rid of him. Lin Deyi is also called a sentence, which is tantamount to nonsense. However, although the face is very disdainful, Wei Suo's is still very nervous, because this is his first time with people intercourse. Now, Lin Deyi's dark cyan jade talisman is also unseen. There seems to be a lot of astral wind flowing in the wind wall in front of Lin Deyi. The powerful energy seems to be very strong, and the dark cyan jade talisman in his hand is still gleaming, and should be the same as the Wei Suo's Earth Shield Treasure Talisman, which is a shapeshift great art that can be used multiple times. This time Lin Deyi raised his hand again. Wei Suo and other people can see clearly, his hand is pinched, is a piece of brass. General things, with Lin Deyi true Yuan absorbed in, this piece of brass piece on the same thing immediately emerged 5 or 6 strange light characters, instantly turned into 5 or 6 the golden blade of light, instantly excited to shoot out, chopped in the Wei Suo and other people in front of the black tortoise-like shield. Dang dang dang. For a burst of fire, Wei Suo couldn't help but stretch his neck and swallowed his mouth vigorously. Rank 2 Xian Armor Talisman formed a black shield above, actually directly by these 5 or 6 golden light blade out of 5 or 6 gaps. In Heavenly Profound Continent, the Shapeshift Great Art Great Treasure is generally divided into Spirit, Shapeshift Great Art, Xian Level 4. To be honest, Wei Suo once saw a harmful rogue cultivator killing a rank 3 monster beast with a real Shapeshift Great Art Great Treasure, but Wei Suo only saw the rogue cultivator emitting a black light. Killing a rank 3 of the monster beast, harm is harmful, but the naked body is harmful, but Wei Suo's heart has no special feeling. But when it's really right now, The imitation of a spirit-level shapeshift great art great treasure is so powerful, and Wei Suo has a deeper understanding of the power of the real shapeshift great art great treasure. Chi. Chi. Several surging sound. Wei Suo also immediately launched a counterattack. Wei Suo issued a cyan water blade, Yegyu Wei issued 3 water arrows, and Nangong Yuking also issued a flame blade, but... You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 23. Chapter 23 Fire-Baked Divine Sea Realm 5th Layer. Hong. 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 One after another, the 4-volume fireball illuminates in the cave. How? At first, Lin Dei was all awkward and looked at Wei Suo with sarcasm, but after a while, Lin Dei's eyes could not help but swell like dead goldfish. How could he have so many fireball talisman on his body? Wei Suo behind the Nangong Yuking and Yegyu Wei, these two beautiful women, brain is also all the question mark. No matter from which aspect, Wei Suo is an ordinary small rogue cultivator. From the performance he has just seen, he repaired True Yuan tactic shapeshift great art is just a very ordinary low-grade shapeshift great art. The shapeshift of art, the technique is not as powerful as the Xuanhuan Er Blade 1. However, in a short period of time, Wei Suo has continuously inspired more than a dozen fireball talisman, which has smashed the 5 walls of Lin Dei. And when the one is finished, he will take another one, as if there are still many things on his body. Even if a low-grade rogue cultivator makes a fortune, you'll probably buy a variety of different talisman and shapeshift great art, and you won't be able to buy so many of the same talisman. Unless he is really a fool, but his hair looks silly, but people seem to be much more savvy than the average person. Go to death. Lin Dei wanted to stand still and let Wei Suo play. When Wei Suo fireball talisman was running out, what kind of table lust was, but waited for Wei Suo to smash his 5 wind walls. However, he couldn't help it. True Yuan was in a hurry, and 5 or 6 light characters were inspired by the brass shift of the shapeshift great art great treasure. His shapeshift great art great treasure imitation looks just as powerful as the original shapeshift great art great treasure. The 5 or 6 light characters on it are unobstructed and wear the wind wall in front of him. It was only suddenly that origin chi, which had suddenly gathered around, became a golden light blade, flying towards Wei Suo. Wei Yuan's True Yuan in linked Yenyupi has already been instilled. When the 5 or 6 golden light blades are broken, a divine light screen has covered him and Nangong Yuking. However, a few surging sounds screamed, and the divine light screen swayed, and it was almost impossible to resist. No way. Wei Suo was shocked and quickly pulled out the gold light he had bought before, and he was excited. Outside the divine light screen, which seems to be about to collapse, a pale gold mask appeared immediately. I would like to see your fireball talisman, or my shapeshift great art great treasure imitation. As soon as Wei Suo was in a hurry, Lin Dei was also a fierce bite, and True Yuan in the naked body once again continually poured into the shapeshift great art great treasure imitation in his hand. After getting so many of his True Yuan shots, the brass shift looks like a shapeshift great art great treasure, and 6 more bright golden lights are again seen. Lin Dei's True Yuan, because it was almost worn out, and his face became very pale. He directly touched 2 bottles of chi recovery powder and poured them all up. Pa! Pa! Wei Suo spent half of the golden brilliance of the golden light symbol bought by spiritual stones, first broken, and the divine light screen inside was broken like an eggshell. Yes, Yao Zheng crossed the door like a pei in front of Wei Suo's, helping Wei Suo block a golden itch. However, when a surging sound, Lin Xiaozheng, who had already exerted great power, felt that his hands were numb, and he could hardly hold the épée. He was thrust on Wei Suo's and swept it. This usually has a dull and thick head. Great treasure is also a bit of a wave. The épée created by Xiantai was cut into a deep dent by the golden light blade. Wei Suo was slashed on his own body and almost immediately fell to the ground and fell to the ground. Haha, give me to die. As soon as I saw Wei Suo's foot, great treasure, Lin Dei. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 24. Chapter 24. This is definitely Tai Chi Jade Talisman. A divine ability fine layer with a powerful Gress treasure and a powerful cultivator of shapeshift great art great treasure was killed by a cultivator of the divine ability third layer. Nangong Yuking and Lin Guwei also think that this is just like dreaming, but the remaining fireball talisman in hand is incomparably real, still exuding the heat of the silk. At this time, Wei Suo's head was thinking of the brass-like shapeshift great art great treasure imitation of Lin Dei. The seemingly fascinating shapeshift great art great treasure imitation is much more powerful than the two of the great treasures of the rank 2. It is worth a lot of spiritual stones. The most important thing is that there is no price, even if there is a great treasure. Stones may not be available in the hand. Wei Suo is coveting this thing in his heart, but his monster beast is killing a lot, but killing is the first time. I want to think about it, watching Lin Dei's naked body, but I don't dare. I used to take the same piece of brass from Lin Dei's hand. Yeah, great treasure brother, I suspect this guy is very likely to swindle. The shapeshift great art great treasure imitation in his hand is very powerful. If you first took his belongings, we stared at him. If he dared to make any changes, we would give him another fireball talisman. After the eyeball turned, Wei Suo said this to the singular great treasure Yes Yao Zheng. Scams. The more I saw Wei Suo's extraordinary Nangong Yuking, when I heard the words of Wei Suo, I almost couldn't help but laugh out the surging sound. Lin Dei's head has turned into a mountain, and if it can still swindle, Lin Dei is really too bullish. Just Nangong Yuking see Wei Suo a little god secret place mo measured up, also think he might be what disguised as low-grade cultivator of what high man, but now see playing Wei's appearance, Suoji Yuking but you can feel it all of a sudden this guy is a fake, such as the low-grade cultivator, it seems that this guy is probably the first time to kill, when talking even the eyes dare not toward Lin Dei many sights. He should be really dead yes Yao Zheng was really straight. After hearing Wei Suo's, he nodded and walked over. He took a serious look and said to Wei Suo. Wei Suo didn't look at Lin Dei's corpse naked body, and immediately waved his hand. In this case, the leaf great treasure brother, you can find him well and see what is on him. Good, Yes Yao Zheng seriously searched for Lin Dei's body. After a careful search on Lin Dei's body, Yes Yao Zheng found 2 black leather bags at Lin Dei's waist, but did not find anything else. Yes Yao Zheng took Lin Dei's left and right hand and took the brass-like shapeshift great art great treasure imitation and the dark cyan great treasure. He then walked back to Wei Suo's. After walking back to Wei Suo's, he also directly intercoursed to Wei Suo's. It's already broken. When Wei Suo took over the things that Yes Yao Zheng handed over, he couldn't do it, but at first glance, he saw the copy of the shapeshift great art great treasure, which was the brass piece in his hand. He suddenly called a surging sound. It is now clear that the shape of this thing is a bit like a square brick. The weight is very heavy, like pure gold, the bottom without any pattern, but there are 8 of them like a small sword general odd shape, but now this piece is covered with a few deep cracks from beginning to end, see the character pattern on a little sinorama, is obviously completely damaged, it is useless. In addition, the dark cyan jade talisman, which can inspire a good defensive wind wall, has a brilliance of water, with a strange cyan pattern inside, which looks like it can be used several times. I don't know if there is anything good in it. Lin Dei's 2 black leather bags are very tough, the mouth of the bag is tied with the same black strap, and Wei Suo unlocks one of them effortlessly. Wow ha ha ha, as soon as the contents of the leather bag were poured out, Wei Suo suddenly took 2 eyes. Lin Dei's leather bag is filled with a round of spiritual stones. Take a cursory look, although there are only a dozen spiritual stones in total, but in the dozens of spiritual stones, in addition to the sleek spiritual stones, which are shining with glory, there are three and the same spiritual stones. The great treasure is small, but it is a little yellowish, and spiritual chi is significantly more abundant than the spiritual stones. This pale yellow, spiritual chi is more abundant spiritual stones, which is middle grade spiritual stones. A middle grade spiritual stone's spiritual chi quantity and value is equivalent to 10 pieces of spiritual stones. That is to say, Lin Deyi's leather bag contains exactly 32 of the spiritual stones. With so many spiritual stones, Wei Suo has seen the devastation of Lin Deyi's powerful shapeshift great art great treasure. Lin Deyi brother, you are such a good person, there are so many spiritual stones on your body, you have to put more good things in this bag. Wei Suo opened his eyes and untied another leather bag. Chi recovery pellet. The first thing that came out was a white medicine pill bottle. Just by opening the lid, a familiar scent of fragrance came out, and Wei Suo smiled even more brilliantly. Chi recovery pellet, medicinal pill, which is refining with Chi recovery powder, quickly complements True Yuan with Chi recovery powder, but with 3 to 4 times more potency than Chi recovery powder. Now with the cultivation base of Wei Suo Purple Mystic True Technique Divine Sea Realm Third Layer and the exhausting lust of True Yuan, at least 1.5 bottles of Chi recovery powder can add True Yuan, but this Chi recovery pellet can be replenished with only half a dozen. The price of a Chi recovery pellet is 2 of the following spiritual stones, and now there are 4 Chi recovery pellet in the pill bottle of Lin Deyi. Lin Deyi put the pill bottle in this black leather bag. Obviously, she only used Chi recovery powder and was not willing to use this Chi recovery pellet. The brothers of Divine Sea Realm 5th layer are really thick, so the bottom of the family will come out to make a fortune. Hey, what is this? In this black leather bag, in addition to the pill bottle with 4 Chi recovery pellet, there are 2 pieces of Cyan's jade talisman, a broken piece of cloth. The 2 small Cyan jade talisman have a very brilliant surface. There is no pattern except for a small Taiji mark, and the broken piece of cloth has some place names and mountain rivers in an ancient text. It looks like it is the corner of a map. Tai Chi pattern, green jade talisman with Tai Chi pattern, haha, I understand that these 2 jade talisman should be offensive and defensive naked body, and you can use the Tai Chi defense, and you can also use the Tai Chi jade talisman. Wei Suo studied for a while, and haha laughed very much like a layman. Pu. Hearing Wei Suo so sure, Nangong Yuking finally couldn't help but laugh out of the surging sound. What happened, isn't this Tai Chi jade talisman? Wei Suo looked at Nangong Yuking a bit strangely. Nangong Yuking couldn't help but smile and nodded. This is the sapphire of the Tianji Pavilion. It should be recorded in the Tinpi Pavilion. The shapeshift great art is a mark of the Tianji Pavilion. Ah, Wei Suo's face was red, and it was a bit dumbfounded. Tianji Pavilion is a great treasure city in the south of Spirit Peak City. It is often auctioned for good things. It's just that those places are too high-end for Wei Suo, so Wei Suo doesn't know the mark of Tianji Pavilion. I think that I actually think of the logo of Tianji Pavilion as a graphic. Wei Suo feels that it is really shameful. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 25. Chapter 25 Ice Fog and Cold Jade. But this sapphire spell will be added to the Tianji Pavilion by restrictions when it is sold, and only the purchaser can read the content. Nangong Yuking looked at Wei Suo with a smile, and took a piece of sapphire from Wei Suo's. After a True Yuan sneaked in, the Taiji pattern on the sapphire technique gave a layer of blue light, forming the small cyan light layer protects the sapphire spells. And restrictions. Wei Suo looked at the sapphire in the hands of Nangong Yuking. Is there no shapeshift great art unravel? Nangong Yuking said, as far as I know, Spirit Peak City has no one other than the one who can unravel this restrictions. However, if you sell this intact sapphire spell to the Tianji Pavilion, you can also sell 2 of the following spiritual stones. Hum, really black, Wei Suo couldn't help but smash a surging sound. A good technique, shapeshift great art, is often amazingly expensive. Wei Suo's cyan water blade is now worth 20 pieces of spiritual stones. It is because of the high value of shapeshift great art, plus its own shapeshift great art. If you let others know clearly, it is even more dangerous to be outside, so Wei Suo will now be the cyan water blade, a powerful shapeshift great art. However, the Tianji Pavilion recovered the sapphire spell, and only gave 2 of the following spiritual stones, which is almost the same as Guangmingzhen Precious Treasure grabs spiritual stones. What is this again? The rest of the piece of broken cloth, Wei Suo looks like a map fragment, but the cloth looks very strange, because with the previous lesson, Wei Suo did not dare to guess, directly looking at Nangong Yuking asked. When this time it looks like a map, but it is a talisman, then he is even more shameful. But let Wei Suo almost fell to the ground. Nangong Yuking took a look at this thing, but said, this should be a map of Heaven's Dome outside the monster beast wasteland in a secret place, but above the ancient I don't know the words and graphics. The original map fragment is the map fragment. Wei Suo's heart was speechless for a while, and he felt that he seemed to have never seen the world and was even more shameful. But just getting so many good things on Lin Deyi's body is enough to make Wei Suo excited. There are also cultivators in the dry food of these ice spiders. It is better for us to thoroughly check them first to see if there are any good things. Wei Suo's eyes quickly focused on the cultivator naked body that was hung on one side of the mountain wall with a faint glow in the chest. For Wei Suo's proposal, Nangong Yuking and others certainly don't have any opinions. For anyone, after going to the monster beast's lair and killing the monster beast, it will definitely search the entire nest thoroughly. Again, Wei Suo went to the cultivator for the first time. He was the first to kill, so he didn't dare to look at Lin Deyi, who had killed himself, but the cultivator killed by the ice spider. In the face of the temptation of spiritual stones, he was not much scared. The spider silk of the ice spider is very tough. It is estimated that even if he uses the cyan water blade, he may not be able to cut it. Fortunately, the silkworm hanging on the naked body of the body is not tight, so it does not hinder Wei Suo's search. Carefully, one of the unlucky cultivator's chest was frozen by the chill on the spider's silk, and a bottle of chi recovery powder immediately fell off. Then Wei Suo immediately saw a reddish-brown, many of the rank 1 fires of the rune, and a white jade box. The light that Wei Suo saw before was the white jade box. But what makes Wei Suo very strange is that this has no pattern, but the inside of the jade box with the surface and the inner wall is very brilliant, but it is empty and there is nothing. Wei Suo was disappointed to search the rest of the cultivator, but the cultivator seems to be even poorer than the previous Wei Suo. Apart from these things, there is nothing left with it, even a product of spiritual nun of stones. Great treasure about a stick of incense. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 26. Chapter 26 Golden Jade Pavilion. A rusted thick-backed knife slashed on the mountain wall below the ice fog fruit, and suddenly fell a few pieces of great treasure. It was Ye Xiaozheng, and the rusted thick-backed knives were found in this cave. I don't know which one was the unlucky ghost of the ice silk platter. The reason why I don't need an épée is because the épée is definitely fast, but I am afraid that if the cold jade inside is chopped up, it will not be worth the loss. Although this handle is a very ordinary steel knife, Ye Xiaozheng used a great force to cut the rock. It is also very simple. Each knife almost cuts a small piece of 2 giants, and this is still in yet. Xiaozheng deliberately controlled. Wei Suo eyes glanced at Ye Xiaozheng and cut the rocks, which is much more exciting than killing the monster beast's heart lust, because if you kill the monster beast, no matter whether you kill or kill, you always know what monster kill is killing myself, but now no one knows that the cold jade is a bit more great treasure. Out. Suddenly, the brows of Wei Suo and Nangang Yuking and others jumped unconsciously. As Ye Zheng's knife fell, a glimmer of white brilliance emerged with a very strong cold air. In the cracks of the grey-black rock, reveals a very smooth white cold jade. Middle-grade cold jade. All people are happy in the eyes. The cold jade of high grade is almost completely transparent, as is the dark ice, and a part of the cold jade inside is white, and white is pure, with no noise or impurities, and the chill that flows out is like an ice needle. It is clear that rank is good and can already be used to refine shape-shift great art and shape-shift great art great treasure middle grade cold jade. The key now is to see how much great treasure this middle grade cold jade has. Ye Xiaozheng tentatively along the edge of the cold jade of the reveals, carefully cut a little below. This knife goes down, all the reveals in the rock are smooth and white, and the cold jade of the reveals is already 1 foot wide and 2 feet long. The more Ye Xiaozheng continues to cautiously cut, the more Wei Suo's mouth is licking the more precious treasure, and after a while almost the mouth will be happy. Under the constant cutting of Ye Xiaozheng, the 3-footed rock below the ice fog fruit has all been cut, and the inside of the reveals are all pure middle grade white cold jade. Until this time, the cold has not been seen. The edge of jade. Just such a great treasure piece, at least worth nearly 100 downs of spiritual stones. Wei Suo increasingly feel that Lin Deyi is really a good brother. Seeing the cold jade from the reveals is more and more great treasure, even Nangang Yuking is excited and flushed. Not yet. 4 feet, 5 feet, in the crowd excited eyes, the horizontal length has been more than 5 feet, and finally saw the edge. After the two sides finally saw the side, Ye Xiaozheng carefully digging above the ice fog fruit, just a moment, Wei Suo almost laughed. The width of the cold jade above the ice fog fruit is also more than 2 feet. After Ye Xiaozheng completely digs out the cold jade from the mountain wall, the whole great treasure block cold jade actually reaches a 5-foot square and the thickness is close to 1 ruler. Gathering great treasure building. Golden Jade Pavilion. In the south of Spirit Peak City, there are dozens of distinctive great treasure shops, forming a piece of square market. Among these great treasure shops, the Golden Jade Pavilion features artifact refinement, which is the most complete and most abundant. The entrance to the Golden Jade Pavilion is a bright great treasure that can hold dozens of people without being crowded. It uses rosewood to create a counter that displays samples of many materials. Responsible for the reception to come to cultivator, are color of the splendid china to serve the youth. After the great treasure of the Golden Jade Pavilion, there is a 3-story pavilion, one of which is a VIP pavilion on the 1st and 2nd floors, and a wing on the 3rd floor. There are some antique fragrance tables and chairs in the wing. Fox. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 27. Chapter 27. 600 pieces of spiritual stones. In the past, how many days did Wei Suo have to earn? Even if you don't say it before, you can say that now, with Wei Suo's speed of refining 30 fireball talismans a day, the cost of even blood is not counted, that is, 15 pieces of spiritual stones. Changed the great treasure most common rogue cultivator, for 400 pieces of spiritual stones, maybe you can kill and set fire, even to the Liuxia lane to do a cowherd will do. However, this cold jade is not all of its own, and it can only be divided into a quarter. If you were cheeky, you would have collected all of them. Thinking about it, Wei Suo started to come again with Lin Deyi from Lust. The cultivator of the Divine Sea Realm 5th layer like Lin Deyi wants to be black and black, not for the 3-headed ice spider and the 4 of them. If the things on them and the cold jade are all acquired by Lin Deyi, then Lin Deyi is really a great treasure for the great treasure, at least thousands of spiritual stones are in hand, maybe it will become heavenly profound continent in the future. It's not necessarily the number 1. However, Lin Deyi was accidentally hit by a pile of fireball talisman who was using Wei Suo with secret place. I don't know if it is lucky or unfortunate. How are you doing? Wei Suo turned back and asked Nangong Snow White Butt and Yes Yao Zheng and Yeguwei. For just making a fortune, and you can continue to want to do shapeshift great art refining talisman, for the time you don't want Wei Suo for spiritual stones, of course you can wait, participate in the auction, the more the price of the auction, the better. I don't care. Anyway, I have been staying in Spirit Peak City. It doesn't matter if I wait a few more days. Nangong Yuking shrugged and looked at Yes Yao Zheng and Yeguwei. What do you mean by leave great treasure brother and yes sister? Let the Wei Suo brothers decide. Just listen to him. Yes Yao Zheng said that he didn't want to say it. This great treasure is really kind. Wei Suo's affection for Yes Yao Zheng and the subsequent great treasure increased. After nodding, he said to shopkeeper Tian, in this case, the cold jade will intercourse to give you the golden jade pavilion for auction. So please wait a moment. Shopkeeper Tian yelled at a Jinbao boy who was waiting for him, and the low surging sound commanded a few words. He seems to be very satisfied with this result. After all, the golden jade pavilion features the raw materials of various artifact refinement, so a great treasure piece of cool jade by the golden jade pavilion, invisibly, also enhances the surging sound of the golden jade pavilion. For businesses like the golden jade pavilion, it's much more important than earning a few more spiritual stones. After the Jinbao boy walked out quickly, it was only a moment, and he walked in with a rosewood tray. Wei Suo, who was holding a cup of tea, almost swallowed the cup as soon as he saw the tray in his hand. Spiritual stones. Golden jade pavilion. On the rosewood tray held by the robes, 60 sleek spiritual stones are placed in a perfectly analogous code. The 60 sleek spiritual stones are all in the eyes of Wei Suo, the middle grade spiritual stones with a light yellow splendid light. This, Yes Yao Zheng is also awkward, looking at shopkeeper Tian. Our golden jade pavilion is second to none in Spirit Peak City because of our credibility. Shopkeeper Tian Sum proudly explained. According to our golden jade pavilion rules, since the reserve price is 600 low-grade spiritual stones, even if this cold jade final streaming, we golden jade pavilion will also use 600 low-grade spiritual stones purchase. This part of the cost we will pay in advance. If the auction out, the remaining spiritual stones will be paid immediately after the end of the auction. The golden jade pavilion will do business, so it's easy to participate in the auction. It's also fast. Others, of course, like intercourse and doing business with such a business. No wonder the golden jade pavilion can do this great treasure. Wei Suo thought so, and saw that in addition to the 60 attractive middle grade spiritual stones that made his eyes shine, the rosewood tray was also marked with a red jade tag bearing the word for, a whole piece of red jade. The card is embossed with many fine, beautiful evergreen patterns. What is these? Wei? Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziwei. Chapter 28. Chapter 28 comes out to see spiritual stones, seeking a red ticket. Wow, ha 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 ha. In the ordinary stone house in the west of the city, there was a terrible screaming surging sound. Wei Suo, who made this laughing surging sound, was looking at the golden treasure pile of spiritual stones on the bed. Before going to the golden jade pavilion, Wei Suo and others sold 3 ice spiders and 2 rock snakes, plus so many ice spiders in the hole, and sold a total of 200 spirital stones. Yes, Yao Zheng is very kind and takes only 60 pieces of spiritual stones that are equivalent to an ice silk spider, plus 40 pieces of Nangong Yuking, and the remaining 100 pieces of spiritual stones are used to get Wei Suo from Lindeyi. A beast bag is bulging. In addition to the 110 pieces of spiritual stones, a total of 13 pieces of spiritual stones and 3 middle-grade spiritual stones from Lindeyi and the rocky low-grade cultivator that were used as ice stocks in the cave were also used by Wei Suo. Stuffed into my arms. Together with the 15 middle-grade spiritual stones from the Golden Jade Pavilion, Wei Suo's previous remaining spiritual stones, now on the Wei Suo's bed are piled with 18 middle-grade spiritual stones and 128 lowercase spiritual stones. The spiritual stones of such a great treasure pile made Wei Suo not even sell some of the miscellaneous things that Lin Dei and the two unlucky ones got, and ran back home. Can't wait to see this great treasure. The pile of spiritual stones is what it looks like. Because it was not in the evening, the green-robed old man didn't come out in the ghost-raising jar. It was a bit of a chilly little stone house, and a great treasure pile of spiritual stones was a little bright in the room. The spiritual stones, which gave off the faint green light, was fine. Wei Suo didn't have much freshness, but the pale yellow middle-grade spiritual stones, Wei Suo, were basically just light, and they haven't gotten into it. Get a middle-grade spiritual stones first. In fact, middle-grade spiritual stones and low-grade spiritual the stones, which contains more abundant spiritual chi, one of the world's spiritual chi of the amount equivalent to 10 times the low-grade spiritual stones, to Wei Suo currently divine C realm 3rd, layer base. In fact, one day cannot cultivation a refining middle spiritual stones, but never used middle grade spiritual stones of cultivation. Wei is a kind of cannot say the freshness, so the more he took a few bright light yellow Suo middle spiritual stones play the more feel admiringly. After a while finally squeezed a middle grade spiritual stones in the hand, closed eyes up. For a few hours, Wei Suo kept motionless, and the slight yellowish spiritual chi kept smashing out of the middle grade spiritual stones, slowly from his meridian, into his naked body. Inside, within his naked body, there is also a very rhythmic slightly like the flow of true Yuan flowing surging sound. His heavenly spirit, chest purple palace and small belly dungeon secret place, all faintly reveal 3 purple brilliance, and with the continuous penetration of spiritual chi, these 3 groups of purple brilliance seem to be slowly growing strong treasure. These 3 groups look vaguely like a whirlpool of purple brilliance. Is his cultivation purple mystic true technique formed divine C? Only these 3 divine C strong great treasure to a certain extent. You can take advantage of these 3 divine C true Yuan power, and then open up a divine C, breakthrough to divine C realm 4th, but now look at his 3-layer place secret C is not so surging. To break through to the divine C realm 4th layer seems to take some time. Really cool. Waiting until the sky outside was completely unknowingly dark, Wei Suo suddenly opened his eyes and satisfied the extreme stretch. Middle grade spiritual stones is the middle grade spiritual stones, and it's really durable. Wei Suo's middle grade spiritual stones, the pale yellow color is only half faded, and it seems that he can at least absorb his appearance for several hours. Turned around and looked at it. Besides, it was found that the sky was completely dark. Wei Suo's eyes turned and he smiled. He took it out from the ghost-raising jar, which was dressed as a regular black crock-pot under the bed. He took a shot and said, "Slacker old man still sleeping, come out to see spiritual stones. What the ghosts are calling." A shot by Wei Suo. Green-robed old man is really relaxing from the ghost-raising jar. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 29. Chapter 29 Golden Snake Thunder Secret Art, Seeking Red Tickets. Wei Suo pushed the 2 things in front of green-robed old man, the same map fragment from Lin Dei's body, and the other 2 sapphire characters sold by Tianj Pavilion. Since Lin Dei is serious about collecting this map fragment should not be useless waste, but the above is all ancient text. Wei Suo thinks green-robed old man is the same old antique very it is possible to know. Yinfen Mountain, Peach Lake. Sure enough, green-robed old man just glanced at it and read out several names on the fragment. This is the map fragment of Qingcheng ruins. Green-robed old man quickly made a statement. Wei Suo asked curiously, Qingcheng ruins. What could this place be? Qingcheng ruins, a ruin of the ancient great treasure, contains many artifacts of artifact refinement and ancient cultivator shapeshift great art great treasure. There have been many cultivator in the past tens of thousands of years great treasure, but Qing Cheng ruins bit secret place heavenly profound continent and cloud spiritnant middle monster beast wilderness, there are many strong great treasure monster haunt, plus there are many dangerous and unpredictable dilapidated beast, so venture into the inside to explore great treasures cultivator is the 10 of them, even if there is not much ancient sect left behind the things, light these dead in the cultivator body of things, so that a mile wide ruins, the good thing is certainly very a lot of. The old man in Qingbao looked at Wei Suo and explained, you should be the map drawn by the cultivator of Qing Cheng ruins. It has some monster beast gatherings and places where it is safer to have some labels. If you have this complete map, it will be safer to go into Qing Cheng ruins to explore great treasure. Unfortunately, this is just a corner of the map, and with your current cultivation base, even if you get other fragments to make a complete map, going to Qing Cheng ruins is almost the same as sending death. The ruins of a great treasure sect? I have to go see it later, maybe I am lucky, I can find the rest of the map. Wei Suo suddenly blinked again as soon as he heard it. If you don't say anything else, you can reach that far away in the wilderness outside Heaven's Dome. It is estimated that one is stronger than Lin Dei. There are so many good things in Lin Dei's body now, let alone those people. You will wait slowly. Green-robed old man looked down at Wei Suo, who had a glare when he heard something good. Take the 2 jade talisman and take a look. If green-robed old man is called Wei Suo to do something, Wei Suo may have to grind it. Now, after listening to green-robed old man, Wei Suo suddenly put 2 pieces of jade in a hurry. Talisman was placed in front of green-robed old man. Green-robed old man stared at the 2 pieces of cyan jade talisman held in Wei Suo's hand for a moment, suddenly turned into a green flame, and suddenly penetrated into cyan jade talisman. What is this? Just as green-robed old man's green flame infiltrated into cyan jade talisman, a black brilliance suddenly appeared in cyan jade talisman. Under the guise of a close look, it formed a fierce black wolf. Green-robed old man's green flames have passed. Green-robed old man's green flame turned into a green gimmick, entangled in the cyan jade talisman with the black wolf. The black wolf is desperately biting the green hoe, and the green the head is also open with a great treasure mouth, looking funny and biting the black wolf. After a while, green-robed old man's black flame retired from cyan jade talisman. Immediately after exiting, he called a surging sound and reformed it into green-robed old man's naked body. The bite was very embarrassing and panting. What is the black wolf inside? Old man, how are you not opponent? Wei Suo looked at green-robed old man a bit dumbfounded. Bah! Isn't it a seal of a black wind wolf divine soul as restrictions, a little black wind wolf divine soul? I don't believe it. Green-robed old man breathed a sigh of relief and immediately turned into a green flame and poured into cyan. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 30. Chapter 30 Aura Determining Technique, Seeking Red Tickets. Aura Determining Technique. Green-robed old man is so tired that it has just been finished with Wei Suo. It seems that the worn-out origin chi has to be cultivated for at least 10 days and a half. It is possible to make up for it by drinking fire and blood every day. Wei Suo once again sighed at the shapeshift great art recorded in the cyan jade talisman. Aura Determining Technique, Level 2 Divine C Stage. The above cultivators are all cultivation, which can be seen to match the cultivator's true UN cultivation base and the great treasure shapeshift great art level within the second layer. Originally, Wei Suo hoped that this piece of sapphire will record Lin Dei's other defensive effect that looks very good for shapeshift great art. Because Wei Suo hasn't yet built a defensive shapeshift great art, it relies on some defenses against talisman to defend itself. Now Wei Suo's Earth Shield treasure talisman has been used for the last time, and it has been invalidated. His protective shapeshift great art has only 2 linked yen yu pei that can be used twice, and the great treasure obtained from Lin Dei. It can also be used 5 times by Jade Talisman. However, These defenses of talisman are consumables after all, and in the case of these exhausted lust conditions, there is no defense shapeshift great art, it would be more dangerous. However, I did not expect Lin Deyi's other cyan jade talisman to record his other shapeshift great art, or a determining technique. Although not the defensive shapeshift great art that I expected, and some of the aura determining technique shapeshift great art in the aura determining technique and the heavenly profound continent are not compared to the shapeshift great art, but this is also true for Wei Suo. It has been very useful. Because anyway, I can't see the depth of the guy with this aura determining technique. It must be a character who is more than a second layer. If you don't want to provoke it, you can take a detour and walk around. There is more such a kind of shapeshift great art, but it is also invisible to more life-saving costs. Because now there is no shortage of cultivation spiritual stones, and for a cultivator, cultivation base and surgery shapeshift great art of the high and low, is based on the fundamental, is the most important, and that a suspected is treasure essence jade case of the white jade box cannot see the effect, at least to tomorrow to see where the silver candle grass is not still and now such fresh, can judge. So after a little bit of sorting out the things scattered on the bed, Wei Suo started the culture and started the two methods of shapeshift great art. Level 2 Divine C stage, seems to be just the yellow shift's work shapeshift great art. Divine C realm 3rd layer, like me, but it seems that the shapeshift great art is a little worse than me. This calf, at least the cultivator of heavenly circuit realm. 5 days later, Wei Suo walked in the direction of the North Market, while looking at the past cultivator. Everyone who walked past them sneaked a peek at Wei Suo's eyes with almost imperceptible spirit light. The golden snake thunder secret art from Lin Deyi was a little harder to make. Wei Suo has spent 5 days now, only to familiarize him with the first layer of shapeshift great art. Get 3 snake-shaped lightnings that come in 2 feet. However, this aura determining technique is relatively simple, and now Wei Suo has been able to use it skillfully. And the most important thing is that this Dao technique shapeshift great art doesn't need to consume much true yuan, so now Wei Suo secretly looks very intercourse. When Wei Suo casts the look at shapeshift great art, the eyes can see the splendid light of the divine sea in the naked body. From the other side, there are several groups of divine sea and the other party divine sea splendid light. Can judge how the other party is compared to what they are. However, it is true that the cultivator above the second layer does not see the depth of the naked body. Just the one that passed through Wei Suo is at least the cultivator of heavenly circuit realm. Wei Suo looks at it at a glance. The feeling of the water like chi flame made him feel sharp at first glance. As for Wei Suo's purple mystic true technique, like all true yuan gong shapeshift great art, the higher the cultivation base, the more difficult it is to advance. In the past, Wei Suo didn't have enough spiritual stones. Now, with enough lust of spiritual stones, of course, the 5 days of life is a life-saving cultivation, which can consume 40 in 5 days.